Hello. The purpose of this short video is to give you a real-world view of the effects that limited bandwidth can have on the transmission and viewing of video over a network. This may be caused by network congestion or bandwidth throttling for economic reasons. Another common reason for bandwidth restriction is when video is being viewed over a T1 line. The equipment we are using for this demonstration is an Interlogix TrueVision TDR30 DVR with 8 camera feeds, an IFS managed switch, and TrueVision Navigator 4.0 DVR management software. This software can be downloaded for free at the interlogix.com website. The DVR is recording the 8 analog camera feeds at 11 frames per second, D1 resolution, and a quality setting of best. First, we will look at performance over a standard 100 megabit switch with no restrictions. This would be the best case scenario, although it's not uncommon performance when a network is built for and dedicated to video transmission. I'm going to populate the 8 cameras in the viewing software by dragging the DVR over to a pane in the viewing window. As you can see, the cameras should populate pretty quickly. Really only about a second or so. One of the tests we're going to perform is a simple latency check. Latency is the amount of time it takes to view an action relative to the time it actually happened in front of the camera. Numerous factors besides bandwidth restriction can affect latency, such as computer processing speed and the type of video card, to name a couple. Under ideal circumstances, you can typically expect to see at least 300 milliseconds of latency. So now, I'm going to cover a camera with a yellow plastic cap and will attempt to measure the latency. I will cover the camera on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I got about a second on that, so you can see the latency is pretty good. Now, just for fun, we'll take it off on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's close our video and restrict the bandwidth on the port DVR is plugged into on the switch. I'm going to restrict that port to 256 kilobits per second. Each one of these units on this switch is 128 kilobits. So by placing 2 in each of these fields, the ingress and the egress fields, I can limit the port throughput to 256K. Let's just double check that. Looks like we are set at 256K on that port number 1. Now, as before, we'll drag the DVR over to the viewing panel in the TrueVision Navigator software. As you can see, there's a noticeable delay in populating the cameras as compared to the no bandwidth restriction. Okay, now that we have our cameras populated, let's test the latency again. I will cover the camera on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, according to my stopwatch, that took 51.39 seconds for that to come through. Obviously, it would be impossible to adjust a camera in real time over a network with this kind of latency. Also, the use of a pan-tilt zoom camera would be prohibitive, other than when calling up preset views. Thank you for viewing this video. Hopefully it gave you some insight as to what can be expected when viewing video over a network with restricted bandwidth.